Hi, this is Mike. I'm reading Robert Alter's translation of Exodus chapter 14. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelites, that they turn back and encamp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, before Baal-zephon. Opposite it you shall camp, by the sea. And Pharaoh had said of the Israelites, They are confounded in the land. The wilderness has closed round them. And I shall toughen Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them, that I may gain glory through Pharaoh and through all his force, and the Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh. And thus they did do. And it was told to the king of Egypt that the people had fled. And Pharaoh and his servants had a change of heart about the people. And they said, What is this we have done, that we sent off Israel from our service? And he harnessed his chariot, and his troops he took with him. And he took 600 picked chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over it all. And Yahweh toughened the heart of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and he pursued the Israelites going out with a high hand. And the Egyptians pursued them, and overtook them, encamped by the sea, all the horses of Pharaoh's chariots, and his riders, and his force, at Pi-hahiroth before Baal-zephon. And Pharaoh drew near, and the Israelites raised their eyes, and look, Egypt was advancing toward them, and they were very afraid. And the Israelites cried out to Yahweh, and they said to Moses, Was it for lack of graves in Egypt that you took us to die in the wilderness? What is this you have done to bring us out of Egypt? Isn't this the thing we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, Leave us alone that we may serve Egypt, for it is better for us to serve Egypt than for us to die in the wilderness? And Moses said to the people, Do not be afraid. Take your station and see Yahweh's deliverance that he will do for you today. For as you see the Egyptians today, you shall not see them again for all time. Yahweh shall do battle for you, and you shall keep still. And Yahweh said to Moses, Why do you cry out to me? Speak to the Israelites that they journey onward. As for you, raise your staff, and stretch out your hand over the sea, and split it apart, that the Israelites may come into the midst of the sea on dry land. As for me, look, I am about to toughen the heart of the Egyptians, that they come after them, and I shall gain glory through Pharaoh and through all his force, through his chariots and through his riders. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh when I gain glory through Pharaoh, through his chariots and through his riders. And the messenger of God that was going before the camp of Israel moved, and went behind them. And the pillar of cloud moved from before them, and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. And there was the cloud and the dark, and it lit up the night, and they did not draw near each other all night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Yahweh led the sea with a mighty east wind all night, and he made the sea dry ground, and the waters were split apart. And the Israelites came into the sea on dry land, the waters a wall to them on their right and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and came after them, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his riders, into the sea. And it happened in the morning watch that Yahweh looked out over the camp of Egypt in a pillar of fire and cloud, and he panicked the camp of Egypt. And he took off the wheels of their chariots and drove them heavily. And Egypt said, Let me flee before Israel, for Yahweh does battle for them against Egypt. And Yahweh said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters go back over the Egyptians, over their chariots and over their riders. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea went back toward morning to its full flow, with the Egyptians fleeing toward it. And Yahweh shook out the Egyptians into the sea. And the waters came back and covered the chariots and the riders of all Pharaoh's force who were coming after them in the sea. Not a single one of them remained. And the Israelites went on dry land in the midst of the sea, the waters a wall to them on their right and on their left. And Yahweh on that day delivered Israel from the hand of Egypt. And Israel saw Egypt dead on the shore of the sea. And Israel saw the great hand that Yahweh had performed against Egypt. And the people feared Yahweh, and they trusted in Yahweh and in Moses his servant.